today. As Jen mentioned, my name is Craig Guarente, and I'm the CEO for Palisade Compliance. And today I'm happy that we're joined by our friends at Azul Systems and Howard Green, the VP of Marketing over there. So Howard, welcome to the webinar for today. Thanks for joining us. So what we want to do today is we're going to break today's session up into two pieces. The first piece, I'll be speaking to you and talking to you about what we're seeing at Palisade Compliance and what we're seeing Oracle and their customers do. And then I'm going to hand it off to Howard, and he is going to talk about Azul and one of the avenues that people have to sort of free themselves from Oracle lock-in and high Oracle costs. So we're going to have a couple of poll questions today, so it'll be a little bit interactive. So your participation is very helpful. It'll help guide this discussion, and we'll give a little bit of a timeline. We'll talk about Oracle Java, but really what folks want to do is see, what are other companies doing, right? So at Palisade, we've got over 300 clients, and they're all faced with, what do we do about this Oracle Java thing that's happening in the market? So we definitely want to talk about that. And then finally, at the end of the presentation, you'll get some free stuff. So wait until the end to claim your free stuff. As I mentioned, I'm the founder of Palisade. I've spent almost 25 years now in the Oracle ecosystem. So 16 years at Oracle, where I was their Global Vice President of Contracts and Business Practices. And then the last 9 years at Palisade Compliance, where we've been sitting on the other side of the table, helping customers with their Oracle. Palisade is 100% independent of Oracle, so we're not a partner or a reseller of theirs. We're not pro or anti-Oracle. We really just want to help our clients make the best decisions possible. So part of that is educating clients on what Oracle is doing. So recently, we've also started a sort of an education arm of the company called Paliversity, where we have all of our learning modules, everything we sort of talk to our clients about, we've got there on demand for people to sign up, including one module around Java. So time for our first poll question. Jen, can you bring that up on the screen, please? So the first question is, has Oracle been pressuring you to buy a Java subscription? Yes, no, or I'm not sure. And while we'll give folks a minute to answer that, the one thing I sort of want to really stress here, and this is this is very different than we have a conversation around companies and when they are looking for alternatives to Oracle database. Around Oracle database, there's so much lock-in involved because the technology is proprietary and Oracle applications have to run on Oracle database, and just a host of other reasons that customers from a technical perspective are really trapped. The same is not true with Java. Java, although Oracle owns it and they got it when they acquired Sun, it really at the base is open source. So everything comes from the OpenJDK, and all the different flavors of Java come from there. So this is one example where the technology really allows customers the freedom and flexibility that they need to make a switch. So the question is, do you do the work before Oracle knocks on your door and you have the freedom to do that, or do you wait till Oracle audits you and then maybe you don't have as much freedom? So let's get the answer to that question up on the screen, please. Interesting. So more than half of the folks on the phone here are saying that Oracle has been pressuring them or pushing them or suggesting that they buy a Oracle Java subscription. 30% say no, and 16% say they're not sure. So this plays out exactly what we're seeing in terms of, if we asked this question 6 months ago, the numbers would have been a little bit lower. So we're seeing the market penetration for Oracle really go up as they're going out to their customers and sort of pushing them with the Java subscriptions. Okay. One thing I want everyone to remember is everything Oracle does is around Oracle becoming a cloud company. So a few years ago, Oracle said, we're a cloud company. We're not an on-premise company anymore. We're all about the cloud. So everything Oracle does, no matter what product it is, no matter what service it is, no matter what division it is to get you to move to Oracle's cloud. And there are many, and we could spend a whole hour on this issue alone, but you know, Oracle is really good in that they always have a singular focus. You know, back when we started Palisade, you know, 10 years ago, Oracle wanted to be an applications company. So everything Oracle did was to get you to move to Oracle applications. And then they wanted to be an engineered systems company. And everything Oracle did was to get you to buy Exadata and Exa products. And now they want to be a cloud company. So I always want people to put those lenses on when you're looking at Oracle. And that is neither a good nor a bad thing. It's just a reality. So when we look at why Oracle does things, we have to think, well, how does this get them to Oracle's cloud? And sometimes it's not a direct line, and sometimes it is. So let's look at sort of the journey that Oracle has taken with Java over the years. So Java is quote unquote old technology in one sense because it's older, but it's very dynamic and it's constantly being updated, right? So it powers everything. Java is everywhere. Sun, I believe, released the first version in 1995, and then 15 years later, Oracle acquired Sun. And then in 2019, some new changes came to effect for Java licensing, which we'll get into in a second. The interim is when Oracle said, hey, we're a cloud company. So, you know, Java's not free anymore. And when I say that, I mean certain parts of Oracle Java require a license that and a paid subscription that didn't happen before. So let's talk about that a little bit now. But before I do that, one thing that's interesting about the acquisition of Sun and Java, and I'm sure I have it on a later slide, but I want to address it right here, is that Oracle didn't pay anything for Java. When you look at, you know, what did Oracle pay for the acquisition of Sun? Sun didn't monetize Java. So there wasn't sort of a line item on that acquisition that says, Oracle, of the $7 billion, this much is for Java. So this is all house money here that Oracle is playing with, and it's all your money actually that they're playing with. So this is, again, when I say Oracle always has a singular focus, this comes right out of the Oracle playbook. What they are doing with Java is no different than what they've done with other acquisitions, where they buy a company, they buy some technology, and they monetize it. So it took them a while to monetize Java, and they got there. Obviously, 53% of you are saying that Oracle's pushing you for a cloud subscription or for a Java subscription. So it took them a while to get there, but they got there. So again, this is new flavors, sort of new, you know, change the name of Java, put in another Oracle product, but it's the same playbook that Oracle has. Now obviously this webinar will be recorded, and I believe we can send out the slides as well. So you'll have this. I'm not going to get into total detail on all of these, but there are times when you can use Oracle Java SE with no sort of extra paid license, and there are times when you can't. And these on the right here are examples of when you can't. And there's sort of two buckets of scenarios where you need an Oracle license. One is when you are using features and functions of the product itself that require a license, for example, commercial features. The second, and this is sort of a very ingenious way that Oracle is approaching this, is through support. So yes, the license is free, but if you want a security patch or an update and it's an older version, you're going to have to pay for that. And we'll talk about that in a second, sort of how Oracle weaves in the licensing and uses support, again, as a hammer to get their customers to do anything. And again, I mentioned it's the same playbook because Oracle does the exact same thing with database, right? So you think about, you buy Oracle database and you want security patches and updates and you don't have Oracle support, well, you can't get them from Oracle, right? So Oracle uses their support and how they provide it as sort of a hammer over your head to get you to do something. And in this case, to get you to buy a subscription. So here is one that we've seen constantly. Customers come to us, sort of a trap that they've fallen into, where they're using an older version of Java whatever, Java 9, Java 8, and they need a patch a critical patch, an update, and they've gone back in to the Oracle website and they've downloaded it. And then Oracle will come and say, hey, we noticed you downloaded this patch. And we don't see you have a supported contract for that. That's a problem. And customers will say to Oracle, well, yeah, but that's an old product, right? That I'm okay because that's from years ago and that stuff used to be free. I'm not using any of the new stuff. And Oracle shakes their head and goes, that's nice. But our policy is for those older versions, yes, if you want to download the security patches and updates, you absolutely need to have a supported contract because it's more than 6 months old or it's not the current version or what have you. So, be very careful about that. One of the things that Oracle does, again, right out of the Oracle playbook, is looking at what you're downloading to determine what you're using or whether or not you need a new license. And again, there's nothing bad with that. If I ran Oracle, I would do the same thing. What are people downloading? Make sure they have a license for it. Just like every other product Oracle has, you can go to Oracle's website and download Java and have your way with it, but doesn't mean you have a license for it or doesn't have a right to do what you want to do with it. So be very careful with that as you're downloading those patches and updates, just to make sure that it is allowable or expect a phone call from Oracle. Again, this is a little more detail on the support policies of Oracle and sort of how they impact customers. So these changes were into effect January of last year, of 2019. So you've been living in this world for about a year now. And Java SE 10 and lower users, you need a critical update. You need to license Java SE Advanced Suite or Desktop. So again, using support as a way to get you to buy licenses or subscriptions or what have you. Now, why did Oracle make these changes? And we've talked about they want to get you to do something. Well, I think the first reason, of course, they don't tell me anymore, so I'm just guessing over our 25 years experience and hundreds of customers. The first thing is the market is huge. You think about everybody's using Java in Oracle's world, in their minds, and no one's paying for it. Well, here's an opportunity for them to generate billions of dollars of revenue. And their quarter end is the end of February. They'll report earnings March 20th of this year. They typically, or they haven't in the past, put a line item for Java subscriptions. It would be interesting to see that number. My guess it would be into the billions of dollars now after a year or two of sort of these announcements and reaching out to at least half their customers looking for Java subscriptions. So the market is huge. Everyone uses it. I mentioned it comes out of the playbook of monetizing acquisitions. So again, this is right up Oracle's alley. Actually took them a little bit longer than I thought it would to get where they are today, considering they bought Sun in 2010. Here we are 10 years later. Usually they monetize their acquisitions a lot faster than that. But I think, some of these monetization exercises correspond nicely in terms of timing with Oracle's struggles to sell their cloud. So about a year and a half ago, Oracle, first they changed how they reported earnings. So you really can't see anymore what's cloud revenue or license revenue or support revenue. It's all mixed together into this sort of gobbledygook of numbers that you can't pull apart. So once those numbers started to struggle a little bit, now the Java changes take effect and Oracle starts generating money there. So it's interesting, maybe in a few years they'll split out their numbers again and you'll be able to see it. But the really important thing, again, pulling from the Oracle playbook, is that any non-compliance finding anywhere by Oracle can be pushed, can be used to push you to buy some Oracle cloud. And we've seen this again a lot in, let's say, the database space, where customers are found out of compliance with Oracle database. And wow, if you buy some Oracle cloud, that non-compliance finding either goes away or is severely mitigated, whether or not companies want that. So if and when Oracle starts with official audits, I would suspect, them to take their playbook. If I'm an Oracle sales rep, that's exactly what I'm doing too. So audits and compliance and licensing is used by Oracle to gain leverage over their customers, to push their customers in the direction Oracle wants to push them. Again, that is not a value statement, that is just a truism. So specifically, what is Oracle doing besides the license changes? They have a right to audit you. So if you're using Java, and obviously you have some type of license for it, there is a provision in one of those agreements that you clicked I accept or signed that says Oracle can audit your use. We have not seen any official Oracle audits. So you know that first question, we didn't ask you, are you being audited by Oracle? And we've sort of gone to other large advisory firms and asked them, have you seen any of this? You know, we'll tell you if you tell us. And sort of nobody has seen these Java audit unicorns yet. I do believe that Oracle is building a team in Romania to focus on Java, whether it'll be a full audit team or not, who knows? But I know there's folks there that are focusing on Java. And then Oracle sales is pushing clients in conversations, and 53% of you sort of agreed with that statement, that Oracle is doing that. And the reality is that most of those conversations, I believe, customers are completely caught unaware of what Oracle is doing or has done with licensing. So what are Oracle customers doing? And I just have a couple more slides here. The first thing is nothing. They're waiting for Oracle. So that's sort of, I think, the majority of customers sort of sitting there waiting to see what happens. We see a lot of companies, it's sort of going through the stages of grief. You know, there's sort of denial at first, and then they get angry and they start looking at other application providers and third-party application providers, not Oracle, and say, hey, your stuff was supposed to include Java. You need to fix this problem. I read about it on the internet. This is going to be really bad. So they're having a lot of conversations with other firms. And then third is, once you sort of wait long enough, Oracle comes knocking on the door, and we see a lot of customers who are spending a lot of money with Oracle that maybe they don't have to, because they're signing up for big ULA term subscriptions for Java, just to sort of make this issue go away. We call it kick the can. So we'll give Oracle some money for a few years so that we can use Java everywhere. And then during that time, we'll figure it out, right? So rather than figuring out first before you write the big check. So that's, you know, another thing we're seeing. And then finally, well, two more things. We see customers actually looking for alternatives, right? So Howard's going to talk to you in a second about one of those alternatives and one of those pathways to sort of free yourselves from Oracle. But this is sort of a very interesting place to be in when you're talking to Oracle customers, because it's really the first time customers can say, well, I just don't need to use that product. I could use this one and replace it. It's not like you're replacing ERP or replacing your database. And then finally, and we're hoping we get more customers do this, we have some customers who are coming to us and saying, can you help me? I just want to get a handle on where am I with my Oracle licensing? Am I in compliance? What are the gaps? What should I do next? And then, you know, we help them build that strategy. We sort of help them sort of build a picture of where they are so that they can do what they need to in a much more effective way, whether that's buy Oracle or buy something else, or you know, limit their Oracle usage, or what have you. So obviously we think, you know, number 5 is a great move for folks, but I think that is a fair description of what we see customers doing today. And then finally, my last slide before I pass it off, I promised you guys free stuff. If you are looking for information on Java, we do have a Java licensing matrix on the Palisade Compliance website. We have the link right there. Just go to that form, fill it out, and we'll send you that. It has a series of questions to ask you, yes, no, do you need a Java license from Oracle? And then if you're looking for more in-depth Oracle training, we do have the Paliversity website where you can go and get a free trial subscription to all of our training modules that we have out there. And that is the end of my presentation. So Howard, I will relinquish control and hand it off to you.
Great, thanks, Craig, for the warm introduction and handoff. Let me just bring up my slides. I think we were first going to take a look at the second survey question. Describes a future scenario in the most frequently used version of Java. We've seen things like this happen with Java 8 over the past few quarters, so it's not an entirely out of bounds type of question. You know, despite the age and maturity of Java 8, you'll still occasionally see some critical exposures surface, and we'd like to understand how people think about the best way to respond to them. And if you're not familiar with what these terms are, have no fear, we'll go through those in just a couple of minutes. So I don't know is a perfectly good response. Excellent. That's actually a wonderful set of results. I really am intrigued by it. I think it highlights where the industry is overall in terms of their thinking about different types of Java updates, especially Java security updates. And I want to speak about those in a little bit more detail in a moment. As Craig said, my name is Howard Green. I was actually at the demo conference early in the 1990s when Java was first launched. And as it happens, I joined Azul shortly after the Sun acquisition. And what I want to do is spend a few minutes going through some options that you may wish to consider for your Java update, for your Java estate. Without further ado, part of what we wanted to highlight is the different types of quarterly updates people see for Java. The CPU update, critical patch update as it's known, is designed for people using Java in production who need to deploy security patches quickly. It's as simple as it can be made. In an ideal world, you deploy it in hours or days once the exposure's been reported and a fix made available. Patch set updates also come along on about the same schedule. They tend to be a whole lot larger. What you'll see in a PSU is first security updates, so that's all great. But you're also going to see some either early stage or experimental new features, a whole lot of bug fixes. So your chances of regressions go up. These are the type of updates that you're going to need to put aside and test for a few days to a few weeks before you put them into production. And we'll talk more about the impact of those in just a moment. One of the questions that people have been highlighting over the past really year and a half, and was also alluded to by Craig, was the fact that as people who find new utilities, new applications, new ways to make their jobs run better, traditionally, most of those applications were written in Java, and it was a very straightforward conversation to say, oh yeah, just go to the Oracle website, download Java, our application is going to work just fine. It's free, it's easy to proceed, and those rules have changed. So at this point, Either your end users are going to be creating some exposure that you don't know about. It's going to be creating all kinds of nightmares for software asset managers and people who deal directly with Oracle, among other things. And as a result, whereas before you would say, well, fine, proceed. Now you've got people who are going to be sitting in their offices waiting for a call that they really don't want to have. On the ISV and the service provider side, the problems are even stickier. They really have a choice. They can take a hit on their margins. They can choose to work in agreement with Oracle, bundle Java, perfectly fine strategy, or they can instruct their customers to please, arrange with Oracle and get a contract to support the Java you're going to be needing for this new application. Many people are probably aware that when you do any kind of Oracle licensing for end applications, you may be sharing a little bit more data about your business and your customers and their use cases and where they are than you might like. And that's something that will give people some, at least a moment of considerations. So there's a fairly straightforward, simple choice. OpenJDK has been around since roughly the Java 7 timeframe, so it's very mature. It's a set of sources. So I really want to be clear, there is no binary, nothing you can run that comes from the OpenJDK project per se. However, you're free to download it, you're free to build it yourself, you're free to use it. There aren't any kinds of restrictions. There's OpenJDK distributions all over the place, baked into operating system distributions. Seems pretty reasonable, don't you think? Beyond that, the OpenJDK community has been very aware of the security challenges facing the Java platform across multiple versions. So quarterly, you'll see updates coming out of the community that are worked on by many, many different companies. You can get security updates from a variety of organizations, some of them free, some of them commercial, from companies that include Azul, among others. However, there's a lot of variation in OpenJDK. And that's one of the challenges that you're going to be looking at as you address your own security and your own support requirements within your organization. There are some that are rigorously tested, they are certified, they grant all the appropriate IP rights of all the IP that's in the Java development kit. There are some that may have skipped that step. There are occasionally some releases that will ship with some pretty serious regressions. There's the famous case a few quarters ago about an update that stopped Cassandra from working. It wouldn't even start up. So there's a lot to be aware of in terms of what you're downloading, what you're deploying, and what you're putting into production. So back to the survey question and the impact of PSU and CPU updates. For people who are running Java in production, the critical thing to look for is a CPU update, which is security only. And today, there are 2 entities on the planet that will ship a CPU update and a PSU update. Just about everybody else and all the free builds of OpenJDK ship a PSU only. Now, in a few cases, they'll call it a CPU, but if you look under the hood, you're going to see bug fixes, patches, new features, and security updates. So, the work has all been done, but your testing challenge is a little bit more serious than you might wish. Given the choices there, there's an option to Oracle, and we'd like to highlight some of the advantages of our offering in this space. We call it Zulu Enterprise. Zulu Enterprise is 100% open source. It's all builds of OpenJDK. It's tested, it's certified, it runs through better than 100,000 certification unit tests. Pricing is visible and public on our website, and it's been in use by millions and millions of people for many years, starting in roughly the 2015 timeframe. And it's even the base Java distribution on the Azure cloud. So to kind of summarize where we've been, Craig highlighted many of the changes within the Java landscape, also highlighted that there are a number of choices ranging anywhere from do nothing to wait for Oracle to hope for the best, to reach out to alternatives. We'd like to think we are one of those. We wanted to highlight the difference between the CPU and PSU updates within Java, and really make you aware of the importance of getting anything that's focused specifically on production, and indicate that certainly Oracle's been doing this for many, many years. They've done an excellent job providing security updates, and we'd like to suggest that there's an alternative now. So kind of final slide, wanted to thank you all for taking the time with us today. Some links for follow-up communication, and if you've got any questions, now's a great time. Jen, you want to share whatever we have?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you both for presenting. And we've had a couple questions come through, and just as a reminder, if you click the Q&A icon, you can type in a question there. And Howard, I don't have anything to share, so if you want to hold that last screen or that last slide up, feel free to put it back up if you want.
Sure, absolutely. Sorry about that.
Okay, so we have a question that says, we don't program in Java, but some of the applications we use, Opera Cloud, has some Java links dependencies in it. Are we under this threat?
Howard, do you want to start, or do you want me to take it?
Why don't you start with it, and I'll see if I can add any value.
Sure. You know, I would say anytime you're using Oracle software, you are bound to the terms and conditions that you signed up for. So I don't know the particulars of exactly what you're doing, but I do know Oracle, a couple things. Oracle is very good about making sure their contracts are tied up nice and neatly for Oracle. So I would be very surprised if you weren't bound by those terms and conditions. The second thing is, if Oracle, as Oracle pushes their Java program out and start talking to clients, they're going to you guys for money. They're not going to those application providers and saying, hey, your application is using links to our stuff, and that's putting your users at risk. At least I've never had someone come to me and tell me Oracle's had that conversation with them. So Oracle believes that you are using the software, you are the licensee of the software, and you need to maintain compliance with those terms and conditions. So I would say if you have Java anywhere in your environment or wherever you have it, you just need to be aware that Oracle is out there.
Yeah, I think that's great. A couple of additional observations. Some of the people we engage with don't think of themselves as Java shops at all. And on further inquiry, go, yeah, but we've got a couple thousand servers running Cassandra. We've got some Elastic over here. We've got some Kafka implementations in a different part of our organization. Guess what? You're Java users. Whether or not you're using the language proper or the Java runtime, it's good to be cautious.
I like that, that point, Howard. We had a client come up to us once. We were doing a booth at a Gartner show, and they actually came up to us to buy one of our little, to take one of our little squishy dogs that we have. And I asked them, "Are you an Oracle customer?" And they're like, "No." And I just looked at them and said, "Do you use Java?" He's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Well, you're going to be a big Oracle customer soon, so take my card." So what do we have next, Jen?
Sure. We have, what have you seen with grandfathering in or trading in OBIEE licenses?
Well, that is a very specific question. I think OBIEE, like any Oracle on-premise product, Oracle has a migration path for that. So it's not like you can just trade it in for free. You can migrate to different license metrics. There are other features or components of OBIEE that could be included in other products, or other products included in OBIEE. So we would have to get into the very minutia of how you're using OBIEE. I have not seen Oracle, allow folks to trade that in for, let's say, Java credits. Just haven't seen it.
Okay. How about, I've heard that as a reseller, I've heard that a reseller can no longer sell Java to our end customers. What are our options?
Oh, I can take that one.
It's all you.
The resellers are the ones that are facing a probably more severe challenge from the perspective of assuming they were being successful selling Java in the past to people that they've had long established customer relationships with. We're happy to step in where it's appropriate, where they'd like to continue to have a Java offering. Other than that, their end customers now have the opportunity to work directly with Oracle.
Great. We have another question. Planning to go to ERP cloud next year. Wanted to learn Oracle Cloud and non-Oracle integration tools and options.
I think you're on the wrong webinar for that one. But I think that's sort of an offline conversation, and Howard, that might be one better suited for you.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, there's an awful lot of cloud migration tooling out there. We may be able to help, but we can certainly point you in good directions.
Okay, great. And Howard, I'll send that to you directly so you can follow up.
Perfect.
Okay, this is a question, Craig, I think you'll like. It is, when are the audits likely to take place?
I love that question. And the answer is when they are most inconvenient for you. And the reason I say that is, the whole theory about audits, I believe that Oracle audits their customers to gain leverage on those customers. And Oracle will use the most opportune time to gain leverage on you. So for example, if you are doing a data migration and you've got information on multiple servers instead of just one, that's the point where Oracle's going to audit you. If you've done mergers and acquisitions, that's the point at which Oracle's going to audit you. If you're building your products and services on Java, and you just announced a new release and you're going public with that, Oracle sees that on the web, that's when they're going to audit you. So I guess, I would prepare for, two scenarios. One is that it'll happen at the worst possible time for you. And number two, it'll happen tomorrow. So I would just do that. But like I said before, we haven't seen any official Java audits. And I really think it's not because Oracle is being the kinder, gentler Oracle, because they don't have to audit you. Why would they need to send an official audit letter and do all this work when they can just see that you downloaded something and have you answer a few questions and say, well, yeah, you need a license and buy an unlimited Java subscription for 2 years, and the issue goes away. So I don't think there's a technical need to do audits in this space.
Excellent. Howard, this looks to be like a question for you. It says, we are using Java 8 from Azul and ICE-T. Our application is an RIA using OCI as the backend. Last time I checked, ICE-T was not available for Java 9. Is that still the case? And what are the plans for ICE-T?
Are you specifically talking about ICE-T Web or ICE-T proper? ICE-T is Red Hat's name for some of their OpenJDK builds. So a little tricky for me to comment on that, sad to say.
Okay, I will send you that one as well, and
Sure.
for a direct follow-up. Okay, here's another one. The questions are coming in. It says, if you were to host non-Oracle application on Oracle's cloud, do they give you Java for free, free as in quotes, with this service offering?
Our understanding is yes, they do.
Okay, great.
But confirm it with Oracle.
We have another one, wondering what are your thoughts around Oracle Cloud infrastructure contracts and pricing? Will be helpful for companies to hear your views if they are thinking to move into Oracle OCI in the near future.
Well, again, that's a whole nother webinar. And we've done some work on that. You know, you just need to be, I always encourage clients to move to the technology that is best suited for them. So from a technical perspective, if OCI is where you want to be because that works best for you, then that's what you need to work towards. What I've heard our clients say is OCI is not for them for whatever reason. It's immature, it doesn't work, it's not secure enough, whatever the reasons they have for not using it. We're not an OCI customer, so I can't give you firsthand knowledge. And they're looking for other clouds like AWS or Azure or Google or what have you. Those are the names that we hear all the time, or IBM. So, you know, I think there's always a path to get to the technical solution you want, as long as you, again, have your eyes wide open and don't fall into the trap. So don't be forced into Oracle's cloud because you were audited. Don't be forced into Oracle's cloud because you're unprepared for Oracle's knock on the door. The only other thing I will say about Oracle's cloud from a contractual standpoint, because that was the question, is when you're running on Oracle's cloud, Oracle can audit you at any time. It's not like your on-premise environment, or if you're in a non-Oracle cloud, where they have to send you a letter and you have to run scripts and you have to give them information. You actually check the box and you say, yes, Oracle, you can come in and audit me. You can use all my data for your audit purposes or your license management services purposes. So from a contractual standpoint, there's a little more risk there.
Great. It looks like we have one more question that we haven't gotten to. Is it true that I can deploy a CPU without disruption to my applications? What impact would that have on my DevOps flow?
The answer is it should have less impact than a PSU deployment for an absolute certainty. It's still, there's some amount of incremental risk. You're going to want to put a CPU on one of your canaries and see how things go, and then kind of take it from there. They are designed to go into production rapidly, so that should be your bias in a DevOps environment.
Okay, great. Well, I don't have any other questions. So Craig, I will hand it back to you.
Sure. Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Howard. And again, for all those great questions. Great webinar today. I really appreciate the interaction. You know, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the seminar, but We met Azul a couple of years ago, and the reason we all got connected is because one of our clients was facing the pressure from Oracle. And they came to us and said, Oracle knocked on our door, but we found these guys called Azul. So our clients have been very happy, Howard, with your technologies and your solutions. So thank you for supporting them and doing such a great job with them. And thank you everyone for your time today, and good luck with your Oracle Java challenges.